Okay, see these little objects here? I'm going to make a short video on explaining certain things, because sometimes if you don't explain certain things, people just don't get it. And I was assuming that people had their own ideas, that they would expand on these ideas. It's a whole bunch of reasons why I thought people were way smarter than they actually are. Now, for a lot of people who've already done this, this does not apply to you. This only applies to the people who have no imagination whatsoever. So let's do this. So we know what this is. This is a cheap, what we call a cheap charge controller. And sometimes bad lighting, so we can all see that clearly, because I can see it clearly. Solar charge controller, okay? You should read this. This is the important part. Let's see if we can get it into focus. Okay, you see where it says current 20 amps? You shouldn't be going anything. I don't care if you plug a battery into this, solar panels, nothing. You shouldn't go over the 20 amps. Do you see where it says maximum PV voltage? Max. That's what that is. MAX, maximum. So if people didn't understand that, that means the maximum you can put into this. And the voltage is 50 volts. So 50 and 20. Okay? So that's what you should be putting into this. Then it even gives you the wattage. That means these two numbers times itself should be around that right there. 260 watts of power. Okay? The reason why, if you say 24, that's important too. That's on a 12 volt system. This is a 24 system. So you can put a 24 volt battery in here, and then you can put double the energy, basically 520 watts. Now, with that said, and the configurations that we're doing, because some people may not have figured this out, we're just simply going to go into knowing that information and talking about this. Okay, so this symbol here is the battery. This is the solar charge. Okay, when you actually loop this over to here, and I had another wire in there, well, let's do this. If you have this right here and you loop it over to this little, okay, now let's see if I can hold that there and get an actual, see that? Okay, sorry about the bad lighting. It's early in the morning. I want to get this done. When you do that, both on positive and negative, okay, this on this side, it's a one-way. It has diodes in there. Remember my original things when we showed the people, and a lot of people didn't get it, but this has a one-way thing. It's only going into the battery. This side, it can go into this and down. So it goes two ways. So this side right here can get fed. So this will go over to here, coming from the battery, and then you can get a load. Doesn't work very good, but you will get some kind of energy from there. And using this energy, we'll do it a little bit later what we use that for, because sometimes we can loop that over here in special cases. Now remember, we did this for experimental reasons. Can we take a battery and borrow the amps was the whole questions, because we're now past the industry standards. Yes, a panel that has more amps for one charge controller and a panel for just voltage. Let's see if I can get a representative of that. Just voltage, which people see in my picture right here, can actually be brought together and hook into the same system. Okay, so you have 2 panels, 2 different functions. That was the whole point of it. If you have the 2 systems, okay, 1 amps, 1 voltage, you bring it into the same battery things parallel, okay, it will start charging. So what is the need for me to redo this video? To tell something very basically. 12 volts alone, from that 12 volts, will not charge that battery. So how do we do it? We simply put a DC to DC converter, okay, in between the second set of wires here, and then put the DC wires into here. But there's another little ingenious ways that you can buy, hook up. These are 2 gadgets, as you can see how I have it hook up. Okay, this is just takes something and boost it up. Okay, this right here controls it, so you can take this knob and control what is going out of this system. So these actual 2 ports on this side, not being used right now, just doing demonstration, is the output. Okay, and I can control the output. But first of all, this right here can basically do the same thing. So let's see. I have 5 volts. Will 5 volts charge your battery? Let's go into that. And you see that we have 11 volts from a 5-volt source. Come on, people, don't argue me about this not being a USB phone charger. We know that it puts out 5 watts of power. If people need watts, 5 volts, 1 amp. Okay, so you see 11 volts right there. So let's turn that up. That's 12 volt. That is your 12 volt battery. Okay, so it needed to be a little bit higher. So let's go up a little bit high. There's 13. Your battery is now going to charge in this system right now. Okay, let's see. Let's go a little bit higher, because now we're getting into dangerous things, because at 14 you're at the maximum that most batteries, 12 volt batteries, need to charge, and you're right there. Now when you start damaging the battery, let's just go there so people can see. Yeah, now you start to damaging your battery. Okay, so now all of a sudden I can go up to what? Oh wow, 17. Come on, dude, this is so easy. So let's see it here. Look at this, it's running here. What is it saying? Get that into focus. Let's turn the power on, because the little red button means it's off. Turn it on and look at what it says. 17.4. That means now I can actually control my batteries, what's names, digitally monitor what I put in there, how many amps I put in there, and everything. And all these little simple gadgets were bought on Amazon. This is the end of this video. Why? Because guess what? They just don't want you doing this. Okay? Once you figure out that you can do it, and I said it changes everything. Everything. Those Zombini piles that I kept saying, you only get voltage. It changes that, because when you can start putting electronics, small electronics, that means all these little gadgets in the back, they, what you can call it a choke. Some people call it a jewel thief, a rheostat. It's a whole bunch of names for that right here, depending on what it actually does. And just because you looked at it and look at this toroid, they all don't do the same thing because it looks that way. Not even capacitors. Capacitors do different jobs, even though we know they're storage units. Okay, and guess what the one thing in the back is? Those 2 MOSFETs down there. See? They don't want you knowing this stuff. And we can keep going over it. I know you people gonna get bored about talking about the same thing, but if we don't, they'll convince enough people on my channel to thinking it's a lie, and then you will miss out on something that was just discovered. Can we make this battery act like a solar panel? That was the whole thing. Because if you can do, and you can borrow the amps from this battery over here and use the two configurations, that means the two charge controllers, and inject the amps into the batteries that you're charging, because you have volts times amps. Come on, dude. Of course this has to be at the end of the video. Of course it does, man. Just stop playing games. And people texting me talking about I ran to Laos because of tax fraud and what's name. No, dude. I just banned that guy. I reported him because I'm tired of the lies. Look, I don't mind you saying negative comments. Say it all freely. But the day you get on my channel and start telling me that I came into laws for some illegal purposes or something, yeah, I'm putting a strike on you and trying to get you banned off my channel. Because again, you're trying to get rid of this little discovery, because the point of it, the implicating, if you can take little solar panels, and what's this demonstrate? A little solar panel. Let's say that's the solar panel, and you can start putting what you need, amps and volts, back together. Okay? And you know, we already showed that those little solar panels can put out 180 volts in full sunlight, 145 out using LED lights. So when you can start taking that and injecting amps back into what you lost, it changes everything, because the system is small, compact, and easy. What is the whole point of just not using these right here? The reason is that this limits it. It takes all that power, that 180, and knocks it down to 12 volts to protect the battery. So we need a new charge controller. That's the reason why I'm raising money, to take all of its power and get rid of the batteries. Okay? That means we have to build new circuits. That's what I came to Lost for. And they know it, because I'm going to right over to China and have them built a new type of charge controller that can take your solar power and your battery power in the same configurations and give you full power to your inverter. They don't want that done. So of course they're going to say what they've been using for years, because once you get to the point and says, well, yeah, it's possible, so that means all we have to do is build a new circuit. That was it. All the questions about, oh, you this, but there's other things like the DC to DC converter. Let's show that. Okay, so here, that's a DC to DC converter. You have two wires going in. If you can see that, two wires going in, two wires going out. And like I said, if you put that onto your charge controller, okay, and you have your battery terminals, that means I don't need to even show that. Okay, you have it two wires to your battery terminals, and then you hook the other two wires over here. This means this is a regulator. It'll step up the power, because you'll read the back of it, and the step up will tell you, oh, I'm going to take that 12 volts and do what? Step it up to whatever level I can. Or you can buy this little gadget right here, put the input on there, and do the same thing. Okay? It also means this: if you got imagination, if you just take these components and you use this battery here, 5 watts, and you have pass-through charging, which these batteries do, then not only can you plug that in to charge it. Right now it's charging because it's trying. I got to unplug it from the other battery. That's the battery right here. And unplug it, okay? But you can now, what? Plug it into here. That means this will be charging and discharging. So let's simulate that because I just did that, okay? See, the lights are not moving. Let's move all this out of the way right quick because I'm trying to do this as fast as possible. And you see this black wire? That's coming from the grid. It is full right here. So let's disconnect it and just say, look, I need some power in my other battery. So look, it's now charging. That's what this means. That is charging, taking it from this battery, okay? So now what happens if I plug this back in? Let's see if we can dig. That is now charging. So the whole point is that this and this are now charging. That's called pass-through charging. That means, oh, if I'm taking this off my battery grid, this battery will charge. And if I take this right here and charge another device or something, yes. So now that we know that you can have batteries that pass through charge, then why can't people see that if I want to do the same here? Remember, this is the charge cord. Take it away. Put a new charge cord in, and guess what? Take it right from the battery right here, 5 volts, okay? Take it, plug it right there so people can see that. Now, if I do that, then guess what I'm going to do? I'm just simply going to plug this into this system. Let me see. And what do I have? Off of something being charged? Okay. Now, guess what? This starts to charge the battery and I can regulate it. These are simple little hacks. Any of you guys can do for yourself, okay? So when I show you these little things and you don't do them for yourself, you want the energy companies to tell you what to do, how to do it. You see me plug it in, so guess what? You can do these things too. If you're innovative, you'll figure it out. If you're not, then you wait for the people who are controlling you and want to rule over you and sell you stuff. You didn't want free energy. This stuff is too easy to figure out. Thank you.